Hi guys, Rinza here from Homeowner DIY. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to install a two-handle widespread faucet. So a widespread faucet is a little bit different from a typical two-handle where there is no set dimensions for the spout and then the hot and the cold. Guys, as a general rule of thumb, if you're going to replace a widespread faucet, it's probably better to replace it with another widespread faucet, just because where the holes are drilled in the countertop will more than likely not line up with a typical two-handle setup. So what we'll do now is we'll look at our faucet and then we'll do material and tools. Alright guys, so this is our old faucet here. This has your hot, your cold, and your spout. These are all separated. When it comes to a style of faucet like this, I would have to say that you have to replace it the same style of faucet, just because where the holes are drilled probably will not work with a two-handle setup. Alright guys, this is our material. So this is our faucet. It's a Rinza Moen. So this is the same style that we have here. Hopefully everything comes with the faucet, and I don't have to run to the store, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So what we'll do now is the tools list. Alright guys, this is our tools list. So I have my finishing kit. I have channel locks, crescent wrench, Allen keys in case I need them, Teflon tape. Guys, for the most part, my kit here will have everything for finishing, like with a faucet like this. So guys, with that in mind, let's get started. Alright guys, so this is up underneath the faucet. So we have a nut there, we have a nut over there. Our lines that come from our supply come over into our spout here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably take my Basen wrench, just because it's so tight to get to the nuts. We'll loosen off these nuts here. This one here, you see that there is rust, which means it's already been dripping. Right here you can see water. That may be an issue. We will figure that out when we take this whole thing apart. Alright guys, first thing we're going to do is shut the water off, or hot, or cold. As you can see, there's no scutcheons here. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to take off the pop-up assembly. So what you do is you slide the clip back. So there's our clip there. And now I need to take this off and slide this off. Okay, and then I'll slide this rod out. Once I take this rod out, the next thing will be to we'll disconnect the nut from here and from the other side, and then I'll loosen off the spout. Okay, so my box end wrenches, ratchet wrenches, don't work here. I have standard. This must be metric, but what I'm going to do, I've already loosened off the one side. So more than likely some water will come dripping out of here. Or maybe it was just on the other side. But guys, make sure that you open both the hot and the cold so you introduce air into the system, so it'll allow it to drain out. Okay, so get the Basen wrench on the nut and righty tighty, lefty loosey. and undo it. And this thing should just come out. Guys, unfortunately I can't hold the camera while I loosen this off. Okay, so guys, this is the design. So this part comes up from the bottom. You'll tighten this onto your spout here. And then you'll tighten up the nut, and this will compress to the bottom of the countertop. So the countertop will sit right here. And that's what's going to hold this whole thing together. But with the spout out of the way, now what we'll do is focus on the hot and the cold. Okay, I can't quite get the Basen wrench on, so take a set of channel locks. And then I will loosen off the nut with a set of channel locks. Okay, so we need to get this nut off. We need to loosen it off from the supply line. So guys, I don't have any wrenches big enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 sets of channel locks. Now in this case, you don't have to back wrench the faucet. But let's develop good habits here and do it anyway. Alright guys, so this is the design of this. So you have a nut, you have a washer. I had to cut the hose off just to get the washer off. So what they did is they put the washer, they tightened on the nut, and then they screwed on the supply line after. But it was just easier for me just to cut the damn thing off because I'm going to throw it anyway. But you pull that down, that comes off. And this is our cold. So now what I'll do is I will cut off the supply line, and then I'll undo the hot side. Alright, with the hot side now out, which was rested together, what we'll do is we'll clean up around it. You can see how either the spout was leaking, or as the water as it splashed in behind, it stayed right here. So we have clear silicone here. Now it's turning black, and here it's just completely disintegrated. Okay, so this is our spout. I'm actually surprised that there's no ring that comes underneath the bottom. The instructions says put plumber's putty, but I highly recommend you not doing that because putty can stain countertops. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is we'll put this into the hole. Okay, so this is the bracket with the rubber washer. So the rubber goes to the top. And as you can see, it says this side down. And then this is the nut that's going to thread onto the threaded post, and that's going to suck the spout down. Okay, so that's our spout on. So we have our bracket, and then now this is just hand tight for now. So guys, what you do is you grab your wrench here. And then tighten up the nut as far as you can go. Guys, one thing, make sure that the threaded portion, because this whole nut is not threaded, only one side is, and there's these little cutouts at the very top of the nut. Make sure the threaded portion is at the top. Otherwise, the nut's not, it's only one way, it's not going to go on the other way. But now hold the tub spout in place with your one hand, and then tighten up the nut with the plastic wrench. Alright guys, so this is our cold side. So this groove here is supposed to sit about a ½ inch above the top of the countertop. Okay, so we have the body, and then we have our clip that says up. clip over, and now our C-clip will hold this in place. Fit into the groove. Alright guys, this is what our setup looks like. So the branches go towards the spout. If you put it the other way around, your handles are going to turn the wrong way. But with that done, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a crescent wrench. There's a couple flat parts here. I'm going to hold this in place. And then I'm going to tighten the nuts down for both of them. And that'll hold the body of the handles in place. Alright guys, so this is how I managed to do it. I held the branch here, and with the Basen wrench, I turned the nut until it was nice and tight. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a crescent wrench up here. The space is too tight, but I think if you just hold on the branch here, that should be more than enough to hold the thing in place for you. Alright guys, this is our hose. So what you do with this is you push the button, you slide it up, and then release the button and give it a tug, and that should lock the thing in place. It's a very simple system. Just push the button, push up, let go of the button, give it a tug, and as long as it's locked in place, you should be fine. Alright guys, so the button, put it where it's the most easy to access. Okay, so you hear the click. You actually don't even have to push the button to get it on. But with that on now, okay, I'll get the rest of this on and then we'll come back. Alright guys, so that's what it looks like. So this is our cold, our hot's on the other side. Guys, I had problems trying to get past this nut, so all I did was I just spun this down, slid it on, and then turned it back up. So unfortunately, my supply lines here are now too short, so we'll have to go get new ones. But what we'll do now is we'll put on the handles for the hot and the cold. Alright, so this is our handle, so the bottom spins. Make sure that this is turned all the way to the closed position. So once that's closed, put the handle. This should be closed, that is open. So with that done, let's tighten down the handle. Okay, now we'll do the other side. Alright guys, so make sure that the handles are parallel here, not crooked like that, otherwise it looks bad. Nice and solid, nice and solid. Everything looks good. Okay, so for leaks, we'll check the nuts, they're in there. The spout here, the connector is going to your hot and cold. Everything looks to be alright. It makes I replace the supply lines. Check the stop there, check the stop there. Everything looks alright. I'd have to say the job is done. So what we'll do now is an overview of this job. Alright guys, so that concludes this project. So in this case, I had problems trying to figure out how to get the old faucet out. Guys, with stuff that is older and you don't know what type of brand it is or other things, different manufacturers will have different ways to install something. So sometimes you have to try to figure out what is the method that they have done. I ran into problems on the hot side. It was rusted together. I probably should have had some penetrating oil with me as well, but I mean, eventually I got the thing done. The time on this job. The time was about 2 hours. I ran into problems getting out the old faucet, and then just a couple other things. Wasn't exactly the easiest thing in the world, but I eventually got it done. Guys, this type of faucet, a Roman faucet that sits on a tub, will be the same thing. You'll have a nut and a washer to clamp down to the deck of the tub. So these will be, for the most part, relatively universal on the way to install them. But again, different manufacturers have different methods. The cost of this job, the faucet and then the supply lines were about $250. The customer supplied it, but I mean, I should have probably had some supply lines with me just in case, but I've never seen the house before. I never seen the cabinet, so I wasn't quite sure what I was going to get myself into. But at the end of the day, everything got done. Guys, one other thing. At the very end of the job, after when I was testing it, I put the model of the faucet on the FOP, the vertical black piece of ABS pipe. You didn't see it, but I also taped the wrench and the aerator key to the bottom of the sink. I highly recommend you keep everything together, so if you have a problem in the future, it's a lot easier to figure out where the stuff is to be able to service a faucet. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope something here is going to help you on your project when you need to go ahead and do that. Guys, till next time, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next project.